Hello, my name's Jake and welcome to the channel. This video is just following on from the email from the developers of Identity recently. It's quite controversial. Some people have already made videos concerning it. This one's going to be slightly more positive. It's the first video on this channel. As you can see, I'm sitting at 0 subscribers, so if you like the content, give it a subscribe and a like, and as ever engage and put some comments down below so that we can have a conversation about this, because this is just my thoughts and opinions. We're going to load up the game, have a walk around and see what we can find. So the aim for this video is to try and find 10 things I like about Identity, or at least 10 things that I think have got potential, rather than being negative, which I could quite easily be negative about this game. That might be for a later video. Your apartment can be accessed by the hotel elevator. I always like the idea of walking in these kind of games, just because when you're playing like a role-play game, and it's meant to be kind of based on real life, you don't see people sprinting around the streets in real life. And so we're going to take it a little bit slower and just walk. I just want to kind of take in some of the scenery, because in fairness, although you can see my hat when I spin quickly, you can see my hat at the top right there. In fairness to them, if you look at these textures and the models and the assets, they're all quite nice. Oh, okay. They're all quite nice. They have done a good job. I'm not sure whether this is just the lead artist. I think his name is Jade. He was doing some live streams on Twitch, and he was doing lots of the modelling. Oh, okay. I don't know what's happening, but my mouse keeps going way up. So I don't know whether this is all him. I can't imagine it is, because this is quite a this is lots of assets just for one guy to pump out. However, some of these might also be bought assets. We need to remember that as well. I don't know how many are bought. I don't know if any are bought, but it's something to consider. But they are very nice. Nice attention to detail. I noticed my footsteps changed when I went onto this. I don't know if you can hear it very well. Let's turn up the volume. Audio, master, effects, ambient, interface. Didn't really seem to do much. Okay. So you should be able to hear the footsteps now. So that actually... Okay. So that's a very Escape from Tarkov-esque, whereby you can actually, depending on what terrain you're walking on. I know a lot of games do this, right? But I didn't actually expect to see that in this game, just because there's so little to actually do in this town square module. I didn't expect to have any attention paid to sound effects really at all, and it does obviously change when you get onto the bricks and onto the concrete, which is nice. So I don't know whether this sign is the same as the other one I spotted on the other end, but you can, depending on your role in the game, I believe you can put up different messages on this sign. Yeah. So there's something weird going on with my mouse where it'll freeze and then shoot my mouse off to the other end of the screen. So this is the art gallery, which I think is a fantastic idea, where you can buy yourself a canvas in your house. Oh, look, the fallout. You can buy yourself a canvas and an easel and start painting in your own house, in your own apartment, and then you can submit those paintings to the art gallery. And I guess there's some kind of censorship where you have to submit them and then maybe the developers or the server admins get to choose whether they're displayed in the art gallery. I can imagine that's probably the only way this would work, because you can't have huge dick pics. Oh, we've got some music in the background as well. That's quite nice. Some of these are actually quite good. I like the colour palettes. I do remember when I was... What was that noise? I do remember when I tried painting when the game first came out. It was really buggy for me, and I couldn't actually complete a full painting. I spent a couple of hours trying, and then it every so often it would just delete itself. I like stuff like this. That's a cool one, especially against the type of canvas. Really nice. So if you spent long enough and you were talented, you could actually create something really, really nice. I think this is a great idea. So can we go upstairs? We've got what we've got around here. So this is just behind the desk. It's a little bit dark around here. There's like an auto exposure thing where you go into, or where you look at like bright screens like this and the exposure changes in the background. I think that's actually an Unreal 4 engine preset. It's already ticked in the project settings, so you can actually go in and untick that. But it doesn't look like they've done it for this game. Or maybe that's their own. Maybe that's their own implementation of exposure. Oh, you can actually browse through the library. Okay. Well, it's again unavailable. Like a lot of the things you click on in this game, it just comes up at the top corner with unavailable. But that's fine. I am just going to... I've realised I'm at 130 FPS at the moment, but I'm recording this video in 60 FPS, so just for... I'm gonna flick G-Sync on. Just to avoid any kind of screen tearing, and it is actually a little bit smoother for me now, to be honest. So this is like a conference room or like a reading room for the library, maybe. I never actually saw this area before. This is quite nice. So you can see that they have done... Sorry, I'm just adjusting my monitor. They have done a good job with all the textures. The plaster on the walls. It looks great. You can't really deny that. Just walking around, it does look good. I wouldn't really expect anything more, or I wouldn't require anything more. You don't need crazy reflections, and mind you, look at the floor. You can tell it's like a polished floor, and it's kind of sparkling in the middle there. That is quite nice. Be honest. Let's go back outside. Okay. I said I wouldn't run, but now I'm sprinting. I don't know what keeps happening with my mouse there. It keeps flicking up off the screen. I like that they didn't just put invisible walls here. They have actually... They've put a lot of time and effort so that you can't walk out of the map and it's just saying like it's under construction. You've got a digger there and some what do they call those things? What do they call the things where you put it up against the edge of the building so you can climb it safely? Oh, it'll come back to me in a minute. Got some ladders and cones and stuff. In terms of atmosphere, you can't deny they've kind of nailed it. With the lighting, the sound effects going on in the background, the smoke coming out of the drains, or the steam. And the lighting is fairly nice. The textures are all fine. There's plenty of assets, plenty to look at. Imagine if this server was full and if there was stuff to do. I'm not even trying to think positively at the moment. This could legitimately be quite a what's the word where you're welcome to Ash Hill. This area is under major construction. No access beyond this point. Please don't hack me. Okay. So yeah, okay, I thought it was a job you had to get to be able to adjust these signs, but it looks like you just hack into them. Immersive, that's the word I was looking for. So you can see how this could be really immersive. If you had enough people playing, and there was like, and you could be like a tramp, like on the street begging for money, and there was vehicles passing through. I don't know, people singing in the club over there, and you could just hear the singing from outside. And because you can do that, by the way, you can get on the microphone system, and there's like a karaoke thing in there where you can actually amplify your voice, which is nice. And then we've got the shop here. In theory, you'd have thought it would be closed, but you can actually still get in. So, I don't know what's happening with my mouse. Oh, they've taken out the parking ticket. Oh, no, they haven't. They're here. What is going on with my mouse? It's not my mouse, it's the game. But it wasn't happening the other day. Stop it. So, oh, so you could click on these before. And you could, like, buy a... Oh, here we go. Parking meter. You don't have any money. You don't have any money on hand for this parking meter, and I don't think you can get money at the moment. So add 15 minutes. So if you wanted to pull your car into here and then click on that, you could presumably there's a parking warden that you can play as a parking warden that walks around and gives people tickets if they haven't got the appropriate stuff. And again, someone spent a lot of time on these assets. As a technical demo, even though nothing works, as a technical test to see whether they could handle server capacity and to see what people thought of the aesthetics of the game, this is great. But you can't call it a game. They released it as the Town Square module game. It's not, they didn't call it a technical test as far as I'm aware, or a stress test or anything like that. There's the cinema there which does actually work. Even though there's no currency, you can buy a ticket. You can go to this guy, purchase tickets from the vendor. Press F1 to toggle tutorial message visibility. Oh, helper messages have been disabled, that said. So we can barter, we can buy a cinema ticket. Press E to buy. Even though I don't see any money here in my inventory. It doesn't actually say that I've got any kind of cash. But I bought a ticket and now this door is available to me. He says, enter the screen room. There we go. Oh, and the game's froze. Oh, there we go. So it looked like the game stuttered then because it was loading in this... it's quite loud, isn't it? So the game stuttered because it was loading in this video and it started playing when I entered. And I wonder if that's persistent for everyone. So if I entered and then my friend entered about half an hour later, would the film start over for him, or would it carry on from where I was watching it? Is it persistent across all clients, or is it a server side thing? I like the idea of this. I don't know of many other games that have done this correctly, where you can actually go in and find a seat, pick your own seat and sit down. I've got to be careful here because last time there have been occasions where I've sat down and I've tried to get back up and my player's been locked in position. Oh, okay, so it's working. So they seem to have fixed that. It's really loud in there. So they seem to have fixed the cinema. Oh, you can get popcorn as well, apparently. Where do I buy popcorn? Popcorn. And now inventory, popcorn, consume. I'm sure you could throw it last time. Oh, it's gone. I'm sure you could like click and throw popcorn. Can we access the toilets? Nope. So again, this is a cool idea, and if there was enough people playing, and if the VoIP was good enough, you could go into the cinema and just chill out with some friends. The Night of the Living Dead, that seemed to be the same film that was playing, so they've got the right film displayed on the front there as well. So actually, when you dig a little bit deeper, there are a lot of things that they're doing correctly that are working. But the one thing I really wanted to see was currency and the bank and trading cash between players. They've got these ATMs. It's quite dark at the moment, so you can't really see, but this is an ATM, and then when you click on use, it says it's currently disabled, which I was really disappointed about, because I thought that could, if you had some kind of currency where you could go to the bank, withdraw cash, use it to buy your popcorn and to buy your cinema tickets, use it to visit the art gallery or buy a coffee in the coffee shop, and then trade between players as well. That then is, I could potentially call that a game. Even in this small environment, in this little technical demo, if you've got currency, you've got a game, in my opinion. Because then the players can do what they want with it. Roleplay generally is all about making money, getting a reputation, and buying more expensive shit. But they've not allowed you to do that here, which is disappointing. I had a go at this before, where you could like paint on the wall. Can I go back into first person? So this looks a bit weird. I'm trying to click on this. What did it say? Stop painting. Make my brush size bigger. So I'm trying to click this stuff. Do I have to do it in third person? No, so this doesn't actually look like it's working at the moment. Let's see if we can paint. Am I pressing the wrong button? Have I got to pick up a can? I'm clicking, I'm left mouse clicking, I'm right mouse clicking, I am scroll wheeling. I feel like I have to select something from here. Paint colour. Do I have to be closer? Okay, so that stopped working. That was kind of working before. I saw people using it. I tried to use it and it bugged out before. But it looks like it's completely broken now. Again, we've got some nice little assets down here. You can just imagine like people who can't maybe afford an apartment just kind of living on the streets and just kind of sitting in these corners, and I don't know, I had high hopes. I did have really high hopes for this game. I want it to be successful. It could be. I mean, it's so promising. Well, it was until they sent that email the other day. Oh, you could get a newspaper. Obtained a newspaper. Okay, I didn't see this before. Trash permanently, use. Ah, okay. And if I remember correctly, you could apply to become a reporter, and so you could actually retype and put out different newspapers and stuff, which would be quite good to for like server messages and things. For admins, maybe they could use this rather than doing an admin dev blog post or putting stuff in the chat or in Discord or whatever. You could actually just put it in here, and it's a more kind of immersive version of server messages, which I think is quite cool. And obviously you can build storylines around this sort of stuff as well. It's not working yet, which again I'd have liked to see. I can't imagine how difficult that would have been to implement, but if players could start releasing newspapers of their own, they can just make up storylines and maybe call people out by name and say they've done this and that and they've been naughty, and yeah, you know, it could. They only had to do a few things to actually make this a playable game. That's one of them. The currency is one of them. Let's see what else we can find that we like. The dispenser works, but you can't pick the fucking drink up to drink it. But this, again, this should take away, you know, $2 every time you use it. It should take $2 from your inventory. And not that I'm a game developer, but I've made small prototypes in Unreal Engine where you've got currency and you press on things and it removes $2 from that currency, or you do a job and it adds $100 to your currency. This is like basic stuff that should have been implemented, in my opinion, before they released the Town Square module. I don't know if they were rushing, if they had a date where they had to release it, else it went against their Kickstarter terms or whatever. I'm not sure, but I think they should have had a few things down before they released it. This is another thing I like. So you can discard items in the trash. I know you can't see it very clearly on this screen, but these are trash cans, and you can in theory select items in your inventory and then discard them in the trash. Obviously it's not working at the moment. They'll be used to discard items when item sharing is enabled. I love that idea. I think that's cool. So if you're a bit of a criminal, you've got drugs, or you've got stuff you shouldn't have on you, maybe you've stolen someone's purse or stolen their money, and you're being followed by a police officer, you can just come around here, discard it in the trash, and then walk off as if nothing's happened. That is such a cool mechanic. Even though it's not implemented yet, that is a very promising mechanic. Again, you can see someone spent a long time making assets for this little tattoo shop, with all the different tattoo inks, the art. Not sure how much of this is their own art, or whether it's been bought, or whether it's from a royalty-free website or something. I'm not sure. Nice to think they did it all themselves, but I'm not expecting them to. I mean, considering they're a small dev team, you don't expect this many unique assets in one small area, so you've got to kind of commend them on that. There are a lot of different things to look at. Some people might be kind of cringing here and thinking, well, you're not just supposed to look at stuff in games, you're supposed to be able to interact with them, which is true, and I agree with you. But you can't deny it's quite a pretty game. It's a shame it's night time at the moment, because I'd like to show you this. I'd like to show you this game when it's light outside. Oh, hello, hello. So we've got the police department. You see those particles in the air then? Because we're near bright lights, you can see the kind of the dust particles. It's quite nice. I think that's actually a default particle system in Unreal Engine. I've used that in one of my projects as well. Might not be the same one, but was that me? Was that my footsteps or someone else? So here you can learn to be a police officer, and you, well, you actually can't. Career progression, they're kind of saying what you will be able to do when the SWAT module is implemented, which it's not going to be implemented anymore, just to let you guys know. If you haven't received the email, there aren't going to be modules anymore. It's instead of modules, they're going to start releasing stuff as it's made. So they don't have to wait and release big updates every 6-12 months. They can just release things as it's being created. I was quite looking forward to the modules, I'll be honest. I'm a bit undecided on it yet, because Big Fry made a good point whereby you want the content as it's made. You want them to just implement it when it's ready. You don't want them to be sitting on content for 6 months to make sure every little bit of it is ready for this huge update. You want them to kind of drip feed us, which I'm not too sure. I don't know what I think about that. And again, I spoke about this in my last video. They've got assets on the shelf here. Hands off, you don't have permission with this equipment. So they've put them here knowing that people are going to click on them, and then they're going to be instantly disappointed that they can't pick them up. That was just a weird decision. They've even put the ammo boxes here to kind of lure you into thinking you can use this stuff. Weird choice by the developers. I don't know why they did that. And then here you should be able to move the targets back and forward. Such a simple thing to implement in Unreal Engine. You can click this, play a sequence animation, and send it back and forward on a flip-flop node. It's just strange that they didn't get that working. You've put these panels here, and you know people are going to press them, but they're disabled, and it just puts a message on the screen. The time it took them to put that message up on the top right hand of the screen, they could have just got an animation working. I just don't understand the decision. Maybe I'm underestimating how difficult it is to put these systems into a multiplayer game. I don't have any experience with multiplayer, so I might be talking utter bollocks. But I can't imagine it's, from the work they've done to get people loading into the server, and to make things persistent, and to get the chess game working across multiplayer, because you can play chess in the town square as well. To get those systems working must have been fairly complicated, but they couldn't put in a little animation. And I said before, imagine if this camera was following you around when you walked into the room. It's an easy thing to implement, but they just chose not to do it. A little thing like that could have made the world feel slightly more alive, and it's just a shame. I mean, maybe this is the sort of feedback they need. Maybe these are things that they didn't really consider before they released the Town Square module, and maybe if they see this video they might think, you know, that's a good idea, we'll do that. I don't know how much time they've got on their hands. I know they said the budget isn't going too well at the moment. Via the email, they're looking for more funding. They're looking for more people to play the game, or to buy the game, to buy rare items in the game as well on the website. This works. This is cool. I didn't know the football worked. So this has got physics. It's quite neat. I like that. You got a little sound effect when you kick it as well. I wonder if you sprint at it, it goes further. Maybe not. So this was one of the screenshots I really enjoyed when they were first hyping up the game on Kickstarter. I thought this was a cool concept, being able to buy fresh fruit from the vendor. Green apple, lemon, orange. So this all works, which is cool. The shops seem okay. I mean, even though I've got an unlimited amount of money at the moment, you can buy clothes, you can buy different clothes and equip them on your character, and you can buy food. Trash permanently. No, I want to consume it. I want to consume it. I don't want to trash it. Are you sure you want to permanently trash? No. Oh well, we've got some nice bloom on the screen here. So yeah, these models are nice. The assets and the I like the little vegetable stand. Starting to brighten up a little bit outside now. The Barbershop. Someone's been having their hair dyed. Again, lots of nice assets. I don't know whether these are bought or whether these have been made by themselves. I know I don't want to take any credit away from Jade, because I was watching quite a few of his streams and talking to him on Twitch, and he was putting in the work, man. He was doing a lot. So most of this could be him. Some of it could have been the other developers on the team. I don't know how many they had making art assets. We've got the drug dealer, where we can buy heroin, cannabis seeds. Can I smoke a pipe? Pipe, consume. Oh, I can. Shame you can't lock the camera when you want to look at your player. I've got a pipe. Hey! Hey! Oh, he's changing his top. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear? Yeah. Oh, I can't type. And you can, so whoever owns the coffee shop at the time, they can change signs like this just outside the shop, which I think's cool. That's kind of nice. Again, it doesn't work at the moment because you can't actually own the coffee shop. And we're back to where we started. Let's have a quick look in... Let's have a quick look in the apartment. So this is where you can buy items for your apartment. And there are lots to choose from as well. You can pretty much do it exactly how you like. I wonder if you can search. No, you can't search. Electric trimmer. Strange. Oh, I wonder if you can actually become a barber in your apartment. That'd be pretty cool if you could get people coming up. Oh. Oh, the game crashed. You don't have any debugging symbols required for the call stack for this crash. Okay. Let's start the game up again. Okay, I'm going to sum this video up now because it's gone on for way too long, but basically I couldn't find 10 things that I really liked about the game because I found myself repeating things. So instead I've just chosen 5, which says it already, doesn't it? It's so we'll start with number 1. Obviously the assets I think are really good, and I think that's where they probably spent most of their money is on making all these assets, buildings, textures, items in the game. if you consider it's such a small area, the town square is such a small part of what could be a larger game. They've crammed quite a few things in, and if you just scroll through the catalogue of things that you can purchase for your apartment as well, there's a lot of stuff in there. Secondly, I like the audio, like I explained earlier about the footsteps, ambient sound effects, the music when you enter each building. That's really good. I didn't kind of expect that level of detail. I didn't expect them to focus on the audio as much as they have. Immersion. So when you're walking around at night, you've got a bit of fog, you've got particle effects, all the, again, ambient noise in the background. It just creates a really nice atmosphere, especially with the lighting. I think they've got that spot on, and if they can just make it bigger and make it feel more lived in, I think it's going to be a great role-play game. So this one's a bit of a weird one. The current features that are in there and are working, or I have seen them work, things like VoIP, talking to other players. I've seen that work in the past. I couldn't get it working today. I don't know whether I was pressing the wrong button. The original key binding is T. I've changed it to caps lock. I've tried both of those and it's still not working, so I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. But things like the cinema and the karaoke machines, the reason I ended the video early is because I tried to use the karaoke machine. I tried to speak over the microphone. I've seen it working before, but I couldn't get it working today, and then my game crashed. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But the cinema and painting, when that's fully working, like, you can see these features, when they have been working, they've got great potential, and it's stuff that other games just aren't doing at the moment. And so the fact that they've included that stuff in the town square module, I think it's strange because they've not included things like currency, cash machines, firearms, but they have included a big cinema with different movies, loads of soundtracks on the karaoke machine and stuff. I think that was a weird decision to include all that rather than all the other stuff they could have chosen, but that's maybe what makes it stand out from other games at the moment. I'm not sure. And then lastly, just the vision and the potential of what's here. Obviously it's not a game, it's a tech demo, but you can see where they're going with the game. You can see what it might be in the future, and you can tell they want it to be completely player orientated, whereby the police, the paramedics are all played by players, the shopkeepers, the delivery drivers, everything is done by the player. And there are other role-play games out there, but it's kind of, they're not geared towards that sort of play style, whereas this game is fully focused on making every decision is being made by the player, which is what everyone has always wanted from a role-play game. So I think the direction they're headed is promising, but there's just not a lot in there at the moment to call it a game. So that's going to conclude the video. Again, this is my first video on this channel. I've got no subscribers. If you made it to the end, congratulations, because this is like a 40-minute long video. And I'll see you again next time.